Hello everyone and welcome to Cinderful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting that war against the Grey. Today we have a Start Collecting Warhammer 40,000 video for you, and today we're going to be looking at one of the many Battle Force boxes coming out this weekend for Warhammer 40,000. Around this time every year, Games Workshop brings out these Battle Force or Christmas boxes as the community likes to call them. And they're a great way of both getting into a brand new army or the game in general, or even picking up some new models for your collection, as they provide a fantastic discount, generally around the 30% mark, and you can get an even bigger discount on that if you go looking at some online retailers or even your local friendly game store. My local friendly game store gives 10% off all Games Workshop stock Dragon's Lair Salisbury here in South Australia, and your local friendly game store may do something very similar, or an online retailer if you do not have a close game store. In this video, what we're going to do is we're going to look at this Battle Force box and see how we can build an army out of it. So first of all, we'll look at what Necrons do and give us, and then we'll also look at all the individual units and what they bring to the table, and finally finish off the video with a little sample army list at the end of it all. And so, what exactly do we get for Necrons? And we've got this Worldscour Legion box set. So first of all, Necrons are pretty resilient, and their resilience come from a few rules, notably their undying rules called reanimation protocols. This is where any unit that has the reanimation protocols, after it gets attacked and it loses any models but is not completely wiped out, it gets to effectively reassemble itself and start getting back up. On a 5+ models in a unit start getting back up as long as they have this rule, which is pretty sweet. This means that your Necron units need to be completely wiped out with heavy concentrated firepower. If your opponent chooses to spread power and not take out units, they actually could find themselves doing little to nothing if you roll pretty well with these reanimation protocols. You can modify these, but never to +1 or -1, so it's pretty awesome. The army also puts out a decent amount of firepower as well, with some great anti-tank weaponry throughout different units also, and what's great about this is it's backed up by some solid combat units as well, and some cool abilities like the Flayed One's ability to come in off the table from the other dimension. The best thing about Necrons though is just this unyielding force ability. The resilient, the undying, and just the good amount of firepower they can put down whilst moving forward, and that sort of just tide of death coming towards your enemy is really what Necrons are all about. The whole surrender and die motto for the army. They're a fantastic army to put onto the tabletop and will just give you a really solid, fun playstyle, and great to learn the game with, because they just sort of like moving forward and shooting and getting into combat with the units that actually want to. Meanwhile, heavy supporting things can lay down firepower from a distance. But let's talk about all the units inside the box set. What do we get out of all the individual units inside the box set, and what exactly do we get? So first of all, we're going to get one HQ option, which is going to be our Psychomancer Cryptek. He's a pretty cool little unit. So first of all, he's going to get us the Dynastic Advisors rule, where if we're sort of a battle-forged army, we can actually pop him in for free if we've got a noble unit, so he can not take up one of our slots. And then we've got the Harbinger of Despair rule, where in your morale phase you can select one enemy unit within 12 inches of this model and roll 3d6. If the result is greater than the enemy's leadership characteristic, you can select one of the results from the following table to apply to the enemy unit. It's pretty cool. These results can range for: the selected unit cannot perform actions, selected unit loses objective secured, halves advanced rolls and charge rolls, selected unit cannot fire overwatch or set to defend. These are all really solid rules, like really solid abilities to sort of inflict upon your opponent. The ability to like remove objective secured is fantastic. He is a solid character with a really solid ability if you can get him to use it. Next, we have a unit of 10 Necron Warriors coming inside the box set. They're just a solid troops choice. Pretty cheap for all things, and they come with a different couple of weapon options, either Gauss Blaster or Gauss Flayer, both with, I guess, varying different qualities about the two different weapons. It's really up to you how you feel equipping them. And then you've also got, alongside these, you get a unit of 3 Scarab Swarms alongside the Necron Warriors. So this is how you get Scarab Swarms. They come inside the Necron Warriors box set. We've then got a Lockhurst Heavy Destroyer. This is a sort of heavy utility piece for the army. It can move around. It's pretty darn fast. With both the fly rule as well there, just enabling it to sort of get where it wants. It's got its cool Ghost Destructor, which is a range 36, heavy 1 weapon, strength 10, AP -4, 3d3 damage. So once again, just showing that good heavy abilities to really take out those heavy tanks for your opponents. What's cool, you can take these in units, and when you do get more of this model, they do have reanimation protocols, which can be pretty fun. We've then got the Ophidian Destroyers. This is a combat unit for the army, a fast attack combat unit, so they've got some really cool abilities to be nice and fast. Once again, they've got some really fun abilities, so they've got obviously reanimation protocols on there for rules, but they've also got the abilities like whip core bodies, where each time a melee attack is made against the unit, they subtract 1 from their hit rolls against them. Tunneling horrors, so during deployment you can set them up in the underground and bring them on the table 9 inches away from enemy units, which the flayed ones we've got next can do the same thing as well. They can set up inside another dimension and return to the table like that. But the flayed ones also have other cool rules, like each time a model in this unit makes a melee attack against an enemy non-vehicle unit, a modified hit roll of a 6 scores 1 additional hit, because they sort of like to wear the flesh of their enemies. They're sort of mad little Necrons. And whilst an enemy unit is also within 3 inches of them, you subtract 2 from their leadership. So you've got some good anti-leadership abilities here. And then we've got 2 Counter-Tech Doomstalkers. These are great heavy weapon platforms that have some varying different firing qualities. You can even use them as really heavy tank artillery sitting at the backfield. So long as they don't move, they get their cool, stronger beam. But they can move forward as well and provide a much more, I guess, infantry-based anti-weapon choice for your army. But where do we go next with our Necrons? What do we grab next? Well, for me, I just grabbed 2 boxes of Necron Warriors. 20 extra Necron Warriors will set you up really well for your future with Necrons, give you a lot of troops choices, and also, I will say with this, you could probably find 20 Necron Warriors either by getting one of the many starter sets for the game and getting some extra models inside there and split the Space Marines with a friend, or you could even find on like eBay or many of the buy swap sell groups on either Facebook or other places, you could easily find 20 Necrons for much cheaper than what you're going to pay full price from Games Workshop for. So there's definitely some options for getting these models really, really cheap. All in all, this is going to give you a fantastic start for Necrons. So let's look how it looks in a little final army list. And so here we have our little sample Necron army list. So we've got our Psychomancer as our HQ choice. I definitely recommend, probably after picking up your initial Necron Warriors, picking up something like a Necron Overlord or something. You can probably, as mentioned before, find a Necron Overlord to pick up to add to this army with any of the starter sets, or potentially even online on something like eBay or a buy swap sell group on Facebook, etc. But Psychomancer will do for the time being for being our HQ choice. Then we've got 3 lots of 10 Necron Warriors. This is going to give us plenty of troops to play around with and just sort of get the most out of. You could definitely, depending on what sort of battalions and formations you're using in the army, you could make this 1 unit 10, 1 unit 30, 1 unit 10, and a unit 20. However you want to do it. And then for elites, we've got our 5 flayed ones along with our fast attack for Ophidian Destroyers. These are going to be great at just sort of responding to threats across the table, coming up where they need to, starting off the table and just sort of doing those things that like our Necron Warriors and other parts of the army can't get to. So nice sort of response units in the army, which is really important for 40k. You really do want to have these units that you're able to respond to, especially when you're playing an army that is, I guess, so static in how it can play like Necrons. And then we've got heavy support. We've got our 2 Counter-Tech Doomstalkers and the Lockhurst Heavy Destroyer. Now, we are probably going to want to play in a spearhead formation. This is going to allow us to take all these heavy support options in the army to begin with. You could definitely try and play around in different formations if you so want to. You could take your 2 troops in there in the base one, but you'd have to drop, say, your Lockhurst Heavy Destroyer and probably put in your other fast attack with all those Scarab Swarms in there to replace it, which you could certainly do. But for this, the Doomstalkers work really well. It's just some heavy firepower. Meanwhile, the Lockhurst Heavy Destroyer can bring its firepower to bear, a little bit more mobile than the Doomstalkers. And the Doomstalkers do have options. They can either be shooting at opponents' tanks from long range, staying stationary, or they can move out and move forward with your rest of your Necron Warrior lines and take out some of the infantry as well with their lesser profile, or the more infantry killing profile. If you're picking up this box, or if you play with Necrons in Warhammer 40k, let us know what you do with the box in the comments below. Love to hear from everyone. Well, that's the end of the video. Thank you all for watching. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and drop us a comment below about what you enjoyed with the video. Also, if you'd like to chat more with me and other members of our fine little community here at Cinderful Gaming, you can do so by following the link in the description of the video to our Discord server. Also, if you'd like to help support the channel more, you can do so either by Patreon or YouTube members, and you can get yourself access with YouTube members to some cool little emojis in our live streams, or you can get access to helping us decide what content we're going to do on the channel next with a few little votes we do for our Patreon and YouTube members. Also, if you're a Patreon and YouTube member, we'd like to give you a shout out. So, a special shout out to our Patreons: Christian Weir, James Soren, Caspawn, AJC, Kenny Lyle, Outer and Shot First, Andrew Bowen, Nathan Fee, The Rising Ape, Q Dynamic, Agu, Anthony B, Anton Nielsen, JJ Austrian, and The Average Wargamer. And a shout out to our YouTube members: Green Roots Gaming, Kenty Young, Steve T, The Ruzier, Chris Wallace, Ronya, Vinny, Locklaric, The Johnny84, David Ellsworth, Revenar, and Wolfric Nick. Thank you all so much for supporting the channel, and once again, if you'd like to help support the channel like all these fine people do, you can find the links to Patreon and YouTube members in the description of the video. Lastly, a special thanks first of all to Lady Witchfox Art, who does all the amazing artwork for the channel you see here, and to Xmorphic, who does all the fantastic work running the background work for our Discord server. Thank you both for your amazing work helping the channel reach new heights. That's it for today, folks. Stay safe, stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the grey. Ciao for now.